This is Barbara Crampton, and you're listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by Kelli Maroney of Night of the Comet, Chopping Mall, a bunch of other stuff. It's really cool to have you here.
Thank you, Nasty Neil. It's really cool to be here.
Yes. I guess I could have thought up something, maybe, I don't know, Killer Kelly, but I think this Kelli
That's
Maroney.
okay. You opened the door with Nasty Neil, but we can just call me Kelly for this time.
All right. Fair enough. So, do you actually have a preference between the movies you've been in? Do you have a favorite?
No, I can talk about anyone that you want to talk about. I mean, I'm doing this to please you. So whatever it is that you want me to talk about, that's what we'll discuss.
Exactly. Very
so there.
Yeah. Well, both of them I always liked since, I don't want to say since a kid because that seems terrible to say that, but since they came out.
Why? That's good. Yeah.
I don't want to, date the movies or anything. But,
oh, they're classic. You know what? They're timeless. Let's put it that way.
Very good.
How'd that be? I mean, if you ever would have told me that it would be 2017 and I'd be talking about these films every day, I wouldn't have believed it. I still don't believe it, and it's happening. I still don't believe it. So, I totally understand. It's not weird to me.
A lot of movies.
In fact,
come...
I was on the front page of the IMDb.
I know.
Yesterday.
That's pretty wild.
How weird. How weird is that? So, yeah. I mean, shut my mouth. I can't explain it either. But shoot, ask me anything you want.
Yeah. Well, you just said about 2017, you never thought you'd still be talking about the movies. And a lot of movies, just come out and people kind of forget about them, even if they're popular at the time. What do you think it is about Chopping Mall and Night of the Comet that, brings in new audiences and, still people still talk about them and watch them?
Probably, geniuses beyond my capability are still puzzling this one out. But the only thing I can think of is it's quintessential 80s for some reason. We just struck a nerve there. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we put 1,000% of ourselves into these movies. And I think the audience knows that somehow. That's the only thing I can think of is they must feel that. But everybody on the cast and on the crew, they climbed on board to such an extent that I just think the energy of them, people just somehow get that. Mm-hmm. That's all I can think of. Mm-hmm. I mean, and just the fact that because we did that, it's universal themes, and it doesn't. Yeah, it belongs to the 80s. I mean, look at the hair and and the clothes and all that stuff. But that's pretty universal.
Mm-hmm. Did you keep the cheerleader suit?
And I do have the cheerleader suit. Nice. Actually, I've had it the whole time. Mm-hmm. And last year, a private collector finally bought it from me, and I let it go because, it's weird for me to have it. What am I going to wear it?
Yeah.
So, it's still fit, I must say. I have to say.
Well, that's something to be
My ego forces me to say that it is still fit. However, it looks better on a mannequin at this point. And, the guy knew the outfit more than I did. He's like, socks, the watch,
uh-huh.
I was like, wow. Geez. I suppose I would have had to go look, and even if I watched the movie again, I might not have gotten every single point of the outfit that he knew. Mm-hmm. So he well deserved to own it. Mm-hmm. And he also told me if I ever wanted to buy it, he wouldn't gouge me.
Oh, that's good. Maybe you can rent it back for like a convention or something.
That's so whatever happened to Baby Jane? Really.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't it? I mean, that's creepy as hell to me. So I don't think I'll be doing that. But what's fun to me is when we do the conventions and people come walking up and they're dressed as me.
Mm-hmm.
Or dressed as me and Kathy, too, from Night of the Comet.
Yeah.
The Chopping Mall one, I had for a long time, I had those sneakers with the paint all over them and all that stuff. I don't have that stuff anymore, and I don't know what happened to it, unfortunately. But the cheerleading outfit, yeah. And then the cheerleading outfit from Fast Times, they took away from me. I think I had my mouth open to say, can I get... No. It's gone. That cheerleader outfit is in the Universal Museum. And the only reason I know that is because some friends took pictures of it and texted them to me, and they said, "You're in the museum." And I couldn't believe it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
so that one lives there.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty wild. So,
and then the cheerleading outfit from the Comet, that was built for me. That's not a real cheerleading outfit. That was built for the film, and it was sized to me. Mm-hmm. But Tom Everhart, there were two cheerleading outfits because the likelihood of one getting messed up was pretty good, and so we have two in case I had to change so we could shoot something else. Mm-hmm. So Tom Everhart's daughter had one, and for many years she wore it. Halloween. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. I think that's a very thorough report on what happened to the cheerleading outfit.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah,
I really do. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, what is it about? Well, you played cheerleader a lot of times, but you also got to do so many movies inside a mall. What's that experience like to film a movie in a mall?
Well, I always freaking out because I came from New York and playing teenage delinquents in New York. I was at a soap opera as an evil teenager, mm-hmm. and then I played a psychotic killer. And all of a sudden, when I came to the West Coast, they were casting me as cheerleaders, and it freaked me out. So, and 2 in a row on top of it. And cheerleaders in a mall on top of that. And the only thing I can think of is for some reason, actors never know how other people, we're supposed to brand ourselves and all that stuff. We don't know how other people see us. Human beings don't know how other people see them. Mm-hmm. So you can be thinking you're one thing, but everybody else in the room is going cheerleader. And you have no control over that. So I was never a cheerleader, for real. And but that was what I was seen as. And there was a very real mall culture going on here when I first came out and started doing movies. And that was what everybody was interested in. And so that's where they shared their stories. That was true. Mm-hmm. And I was at the Galleria, I think, 3 times shooting movies, which doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. It exists, but they remodeled it, and it's not at all what it was.
Yeah.
Which is too bad, because people come out and they, come out to Los Angeles, and they do so with the idea that they're going to find Sam and Reggie's house. And they do that. And, there's certain things, and then they go to the Galleria, and it's not what they thought. Mm-hmm. It's a bummer for them. So that's actually, honestly, a bummer for me, too, when I first saw it. This is not the Galleria.
Yeah.
But, it is the Galleria. We need to get over it. That's how the Galleria looks right now. Mm-hmm. Own it. Learn it, live it. That's what it looks like. But we remember from the movie.
Do you have to make sure, when you're shooting in real mall, you don't get blood or different things on, certain stores? Are there, a lot of rules? You can't go certain places? Or?
Well, I don't know that there are a lot of rules, because if there were, we broke the mall and shopping mall. Right. We waited for the mall to close, and then we ran in and destroyed it, and then put it back together again so the stores could open. We did that every day. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we did that. I don't know why they let us do that. I wouldn't have let it. And the mall owner was down there too, going, "This is pretty cool." I wouldn't have been. There was a mall guard who was, losing his mind. Mm-hmm. And that's probably more like what I would have been doing.
Yeah.
So, we had this thing called Pat's pole, and it's because Pat had a fit. There was a scuff on the pole, and that was the boiling point for Pat. I totally get it. I don't know why they let us do that. I wouldn't have.
There's even some fire scenes in shopping mall, which we had Jim on the show a few weeks ago.
Please give me a break. We set somebody on fire.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right. And this wasn't CG. This is before CG.
We blew up a paint store. Actually, the paint store we blew up, that was actually Corman's studio. We didn't. They drew the line there. It looks just like it would have this mall, but it actually didn't.
Yeah. And also in Chopping Mall, there's a scene where, and I asked Jim, we had him on the show a few weeks ago. I think probably better to ask you to do the scene where you have like spiders and snakes all over you. Was that something you wanted to do at first, or like how did he convince you to do that?
Well, he said, I won't ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. Mm-hmm. And then the guy who was the bug wrangler came along, and he made it seem totally reasonable. He said, he showed me the tarantula, and he goes, this is Dolores. She's been in the business all her life. She's worked with all the greats. You can totally depend on her. She comes through every time. So what was I going to do, argue? And then, so Jim had the spider on him, and he had the snakes on him, and then they threw a scorpion on him, and he said no. So I didn't have a scorpion on me.
Right.
It looked evil. And they threw it on his box. He said no. And that did look evil. I don't think you can train a scorpion because, scorpion. But the snakes were great, and then the spiders. I mean, I did it. I lived through it. I don't have any phobias, thank God. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have phobias, and that would not have flown. Mm-hmm. But I think when they cast me, they realized she's going to do that. I bet she'll do that. Yeah. I didn't say, and you're not putting spiders on me, are you? So we just did it. We didn't make a fuss about it, and I was more concerned actually. Because here's something that I was afraid was going to happen. I'm going to squish the spider. Oh, that's going to be bad. If I hurt the spider, or I hurt these snakes. That's going to be bad. Mm-hmm. We paid for them. That's going to be good. This guy owns them and trusts us to not hurt them. Yeah. So that was my biggest concern when all was said and done. Mm-hmm. Don't let something happen to them. Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird? It's not what you would think, but that's what happened.
Yeah. And then they wouldn't be able to put that
Jim
at
put
the end.
Squish,
huh?
Jim put squish when he did that scene in post. He put squish. We didn't really squish them.
Yeah.
They were expensive.
Yeah. Plus, they wouldn't be able to put that at the end of the movie. No animals were harmed in the making of Chopping Mall.
Actually, they would have been, and they may have that. I don't know if it rolls on the credits or not, but we didn't harm any animals. Mm. That's true.
That's good.
They wanted the Blands to be walking a horse into their restaurant, but they couldn't afford it, and they wouldn't have harmed the horse either.
Now you worked with Jim Wynorski, who made Chopping Mall, on several movies. So. Did you have like good chemistry with him? What was like your relationship with him like?
I had fun with Jim. I understood him. I know he makes a lot of people cry. But I understood that he just had to work really fast. And, I wanted to look good in the movie, so I was prepared. Mm-hmm. One thing I'll say about Jim is I never thought he was going to leave me hanging. Mm-hmm. I knew that he needed to get that shot and that he was going to do his best to do that. Mm-hmm. So, and I thought he was funny. Mm-hmm. I will say, he does scream, and he hasn't mellowed with age. So, you could. That's not like now he's a nice guy after all these years. He will do whatever he needs to do and say whatever he needs to say. But that going in. I mean, I think people who don't know that are probably shocked, but I know it now. Mm-hmm. He has not. I will say, I think I was surprised that there's been no mellowing. It's exactly the same. If anything, it's probably worse. But you have to decide this is going to be fun. If you're not going to go, I'm going to hate this, then you shouldn't be there, right? So that's my approach anyway.
So the first time you worked with Jim for Chopping Mall, how did the audition go? Does he look for that kind of thing in someone?
When I first met him, I was exhausted because I was doing the Zero Boys, and I'd had no sleep, and I'd gone over, and when you have no sleep, you're very relaxed. And so he thought, okay, great. So he brings me back and I meet Julie Cormans. It starts to dawn on me. I've had some sleep. I go, wow, these are the Cormans. this is scary. What if I don't get this? I'm going to feel terrible. So I started to seize up. I started to get nervous. And he goes, what's the matter with you? I said, I just realized where I was, and now I don't want them to think I'm terrible. I want to smart, so I got nervous. And I almost didn't get it. I mean, there was a real chance I might not have gotten it. But I did. Because I think I take a Zen approach to these things. I think if you're supposed to get something, you're going to get it. Because I'll tell you why I think that. I was doing Fast Times, not Fast Times. I was doing actually a movie in the 90s, go figure. It was called Face Down. And I was actually nowhere, not even in Los Angeles. And in no way was I thinking, oh, there's this movie, and I'm going to get it. I have to get it. No, I got a call. Can you be in Los Angeles tomorrow? We want to give you a screen test for this movie. And boom, like 2 days later, I'm in Toronto shooting it. I had no idea that was going to happen. So I look at things like that and I think, that must be somehow preordained in a weird way. For another thing, too, when I was a kid, I show up in New York, and like 2 weeks later, I'm on a soap opera. How does that happen? You can't make that happen, you know? So I kind of think that it's kind of magic. And then on the other hand, I can also say there have been parts I really, really wanted to get. Or like, I'm wandering around and it seems I can do no right. And I don't know why that happens either. So I take it as it must be a spiritual journey, and I try to look at it that way. Because otherwise I lose my mind.
Yeah. Is that hard to deal with or is that how you deal with it as an actor when, if you don't get a role or maybe you're in something and you get cut out of the movie or?
I've never been cut out of a movie, but I've had movies like nobody paid any attention to them. I couldn't figure out why. And I think that it's lightning in a bottle. I think if you could fortune, because none of us knows why. It's like sometimes the audience really loves something, and thank God, and you just lucked out. Because there's other times when, and for some reason, it's the cake just doesn't bake as well. It's got all the ingredients, and you don't think that you screwed it up, but somehow it just isn't as good as something else. It just worked out really well that time, and other times it doesn't. It's magic. And I think that's why we love it so much. It's magic. It just clicks.
Were you aware of some of the stuff in Chopping Mall, like the Crab Monster movie and some of the old posters for different, were you aware of those movies?
Well, I had the same experience on Night of the Comet, because there's not still a lot of other movies in that thing too. So I think because I just came out to California, I think that I thought everybody did that. Right. Oh, it's all one big homage, isn't it? Yeah. That's what it seemed like to me. And it's not that way. A lot of people don't do that, but it just so happened that everyone was doing that. In my experience. So I just got used to it. And if there was a reference and I didn't know what it was, I really quick went and watched it. Obviously, because that's part of your homework as an actor. Yeah. It just so happened I had seen My Man Godfrey. So when Tom Everhart lays it on me that we're doing My Man Godfrey, I knew what he was talking about. But I still watched it with him again because I wanted to see what he was talking about. He didn't want me to imitate Carole Lombard. Yeah. But that was the feeling he was looking for. So I sort of had a leg up with that one. The Crab Monsters, I did not know what that was, but I went and watched it really fast.
Yeah. That's cool. When I rewatched them recently, it was interesting to watch the movies together. Was in Chopping Mall. Your character doesn't have. I think it's the only female that doesn't have sex at the beginning of the movie when they're all in the room, and so you guys live. But in
right,
kind of like the old thing in all the horror movies was like that. But in Night of the Comet, your sister.
They did that on purpose.
Yeah, but Night of the
They
Comet.
did that on purpose. Everyone thinks she's going to die now because she had sex. Let's not kill her. That was just a big fake out.
Yeah. So I thought that it was cool because
I thought it was
set
really
it off.
cool.
It said, yeah, it made it different. And I also like that.
You think, oh my gosh,
Yeah. Oh,
you're worried for her. You think she might probably die.
Right. She's not gonna last very long. And
But she doesn't.
and also
And then they also kind of mess with you too, because they do kill me, but then I didn't really die.
Right. That's right.
And the reason for that, I actually in an earlier script I did die, but the producer said, "Tom, that's really heavy. The audience is going to hate that. We can't really kill her. The audience will walk out.
It really would be a
We're
different
supposed to be entertaining these people."
Yeah. Which that's something else about Night of the Comet, because it is like a heavy premise to begin with. It's pretty much the end of the world. Everyone's dead but a few people. But it's when you watch it, you don't get depressed or anything, because it's a lot of fun and it's optimistic. With the people that are left.
Yeah, that was Crawford Lane. They thought they said this can't be that much of a bummer, because why people. You'll just depress everyone and make them sad. We can't do that.
Yeah.
They won't like that. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's probably why people responded to my character, too, is you always want to think, it's real. It could happen. Something bad could happen like that. Mm-hmm. And you want to believe that even though you're not Rambo, you still have a chance. You could still maybe make it and survive. Mm-hmm. And that's what my characters often represent. They're nobody slick or anything like that. They're just a regular person in an extraordinary circumstance, and they make it. My characters make it. Mm-hmm. I'm a final girl, and I love that. And I love being a final girl.
And like you said, it's a believable way too, and it's you don't all of a sudden become Rambo. It's believable that they're still just normal people, surviving, and they don't hit you over the head either. That these are strong women. They just happen to be women who are survived and are surviving in this with all the zombies running around and whatnot. Was
right.
it real?
And I think that's why the audience relates to them. My characters is because they're they're not extraordinary. They're just regular people. Mm-hmm. Who also know how to shoot Uzis.
Right.
There's some show business leeway. Right. If I ever watched.
Yeah.
So.
I think there's a little line.
Movies, come on.
Exactly. There has to be a little bit of suspension disbelief in any kind of movie.
Because, I often think when I'm watching a movie and the people survive, in real life, I'd be scared to pieces. Mm-hmm. That's what would really happen is, the people who get really scared and they run really fast, but they still die, that's probably what was really going to happen. but if you survive the movie, you kind of have to pace yourself.
Yeah.
You can't get as scared as you probably get. You do have to get as scared as you probably get, because otherwise it's not an entertaining movie. Mm-hmm. Otherwise if you don't get scared, the audience is not going to be scared. So you do have to. And it's just, you just get lucky and you happen to make it, which that's the fun of a horror movie. Mm-hmm.
Are those real Uzis?
It's the fun of it.
Yeah. Are those real Uzis you shoot during the scene where you target practice?
They were real when they had to be real, but they were plastic when they didn't have to be real, because they're expensive.
Yeah.
So sometimes if we're standing there and they don't have to go off or anything, they're plastic or rubber. I think they're rubber, actually. They're rubber because rubber looks better. Yeah. And so as actors, we had to be careful. You can't be throwing that thing around, because real Mach 10s, they weren't actually Uzis, they're Mach 10s.
Okay.
Real Mach 10s are heavy. Mm-hmm. That's why, and people mock me for this, but when as Samantha, when they threw a gun at me, it was heavy. And I remembered that's heavy in real life. Mm-hmm. And so I responded hey, this is heavy. And people laugh at me for that, but I was just trying to make it realistic.
So what was it like to shoot him in the movie? Did you actually shoot a real one?
Yeah, it was odd. They took us out to the shooting range because we couldn't look stupid, and they gave us some lessons. Yeah. But also, for some reason, in my career, people throw guns at me and they go, "Shoot this, okay?" And I go, "Okay." So I actually do know how to shoot guns. not from a personal interest necessarily, but from a professional thing. I had to know how to do it. And then once you do it and it looks kind of cool, they keep having you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty soon I'm the little girl with the big gun. I didn't mean to do that, but it looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's up to me, I'm a pacifist. I hope I never have to shoot somebody in real life.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to, because I've done it so many times, I'd be able to do it because I'm a real good job.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the accident of being in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't, on my own, go learn how to do that.
Yeah.
I just got lucky. I have an actual good skill that hopefully I never need to use because, like I said, I just want things to, I just want everything to work out. I hope I don't ever have to shoot somebody.
Yeah, yeah. I hope you don't either.
If it's a zombie. Yeah,
right.
If it's a zombie, sure.
Yeah, that's different.
I actually am fortunate enough to really know how to do that if I have to.
Well, very good.
It's like a perk. It's a perk of being in the that I didn't, it's just an accidental, good, fortunate thing that happened to me.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have to mention this. I saw that the name of your production company is Badass Cheerleader Productions, which I think is amazing. And
yeah. It's fun. It's fun because that's how people really kind of know me.
Mm-hmm. What projects do you have coming up?
I have some things that we are working on right now, but I don't. If I say we're going through, I'll look like an idiot. So,
okay.
I really like to tell people about things when they're actually. See, when I say something, it's my word, and I want you can take that to the bank and cash it because it's for real.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any chance that something might happen, that's why we sign non-disclosure agreements.
Mm-hmm.
So actors aren't out there telling people what's going to happen because, that could, they don't want you to do that. They don't want you taking pictures on the set. They don't want you blabbing about stuff until it happens. Mm-hmm. They might change it, and actually it ruins it for the audience. It's like a magic trick. The person is doing it. It's not as much fun.
Yeah. No, I totally
understand. I can't enjoy it as much as when I didn't know how they did it.
Uh-huh.
So I notice that I keep using the word match, but I'm missing that I'm doing that. I don't know why. It's just, I guess for this interview, I just keep talking about magic. Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Actually, you know what? Somebody else, I swear to God, this is true. I'm supposed to be giving another interview too, and I'm afraid that I went over time. How long have I been talking?
Hold on, let me check the audio here. 28 minutes.
I hope not.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you have to go, I mean, you can go. We can always have you back at some other time too, if you would like.
It's a funny thing. Sometimes my schedule gets kind of tight, so I just want to make sure that I'm not goofing off and screwing everybody up.
No, that's totally fair. Well, we do have another guest coming up later, Mike Perez, which I didn't know that you knew each other.
Oh my God, I love him so much, Mikey. Yeah, we actually know each other in real life, and we've done some conventions together. He's awesome. You're going to love talking to him. He's great.
Yeah, I've known him for years myself, and he was on the show about 10 years ago or so. But it's always good to have him on the show. He's always a lot of fun. Do you have any dirt on Mike?
He is.
Yeah.
Just that he's just like how you think he is. That's how he really is in real life. He's a blast. He's always entertaining. He's always high energy. He's a very caring person. You can't go wrong. I really, I think the world of him, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And I'll ask one more question.
I hope he says nice things.
I
hope he thinks I'm cool. I'm teasing. I think you'll probably say something nice about me.
All right.
I hope so.
Yeah.
What would you like to ask me?
I just want to know what it was like being on Family Feud.
Oh my God! I really wanted to win. I didn't want to let those people down. So I thought, I'm because it's scary. It's kind of scary to be on a game show like that. I had no experience with that, so I thought, let's just put our heads down and try to win this thing, shall we? And we did. It's nerve-wracking. It's really, it's nerve-wracking. And it was fun. It was fun because you get in that zone where you're just, you're trying to win that dang thing, and so you have to focus and you concentrate, and it's serious business. Even though it's just a game show, all of a sudden it's pretty serious. And Richard Dawson. I mean, I think he was kind of scared of me, though, because he saw how determined I was. He was like, I'll get out of this kid's way. She means business. And partially that was because I was nervous, and I didn't want to look like a jerk.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to lose because, we were playing for charity, so I was trying to win money for them, and we did.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's it's just as high pressure as it is when you're watching it and you think, oh man, if they don't make it, because that's really how it is. That's true.
Yeah.
That's really how it is, and that's really fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and maybe when one of your secret projects comes out, you can come back on and tell us about it.
It's not so much that. It's just I want to really make sure that it's really going to happen before I say anything.
This is a true story.
I'm not trying to be, cute or anything like that.
I got you.
I just.
My partner on the show, Annabelle Lecter, she always gets on me about that because if either a guest is thinking about coming on or we're going to do some video or something, I like to just tell everybody right away, and she always yells at me and says, "No, wait till we actually are going to do it before."
Yeah, because if something happens, then you got everybody pumped for something that's going to happen, and then it doesn't. It's a bummer, You don't want to disappoint. I don't want to disappoint anybody. Yeah. I like to come through, and so I don't want to, make people people all excited, and it doesn't happen. That's disappointing, and you don't want to disappoint people. You want to come through,
Exactly.
Anyway, I've had a blast talking to you, and
it was very nice.
Back.
All right. Well, have a good time.
And thanks for having me. It was great.
Thanks for coming on. All right. We'll talk to you some other time, and take care.
And you, even though I didn't meet you in person. So thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks to the audience too. Thank you for liking those movies because it really, that's important. I'm really happy that people. I mean, like anything, you're really happy when people enjoy what you do. Mm-hmm. It means a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Two of my favorites when I was a kid. They still live up. I still enjoy them, and still the best Head Explosion. That or Scanners. Pretty sweet.
Well, it's like we said in the beginning. Much to my surprise, here we are still talking about them all these years later, and I'm really proud of that. That really pleases me. I mean, it really humbles me too because why should that happen? But it did. I'm really lucky,
Yeah, very cool.
So, thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, so have a great show, and I'll talk to you again soon.
All right,
and thanks to everybody. Okay,
bye.
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 This is Benny Chapman, the creature from the Black Lagoon. withoutyourhead.com.